Hello and welcome to SkedLIVE. My name is Josh Welsh. Today is Wednesday, April 14th, and here are the day's top stories. This is breaking news. A Minnesota police officer has been charged with second-degree manslaughter in the fatal shooting of Daunte Wright during a traffic stop. This comes a day after police officer Kim Potter and police chief Tim Gannon resigned. The mayor of Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, Mike Elliott, made the announcement yesterday after City Council passed a resolution calling for their dismissals. The resignations come one day after Chief Gannon told a reporter an officer shot Wright after the officer drew their gun by mistake when reaching for their taser. Daunte Wright was pulled over during a traffic stop on Sunday for allegedly having an expired auto registration. Wright was the father of a 2-year-old son. There have been 2 nights of protests and clashes between demonstrators and police in Brooklyn Center. Wright was killed just 10 miles from where George Floyd died during his arrest for allegedly passing a fake $20 bill. The trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin on murder charges in Floyd's death continues. A new report by former Judge Gloria Epstein has found Toronto police didn't check Bruce McArthur's criminal record in 2013 before or after interviewing him. CBC reports the 1,100-page independent review reveals details of what police knew, did, and did not do in the investigation. The report found Toronto police had evidence connecting McArthur to the 3 missing men, but did not investigate further at the time. Epstein argues proper preparation for the McArthur interview should have resulted in greater police scrutiny of his conduct as early as November 2013. McArthur killed 5 more men between 2015 and 2017 after police first interviewed him. McArthur was eventually arrested and charged with murder in January of 2018. McArthur is serving a life sentence for the first-degree murders of 8 men. All schools across Ontario will close indefinitely. Students will move to learn online next week due to the soaring COVID-19 case counts and record hospitalizations. Premier Doug Ford made the announcement earlier this week, a day after Education Minister Stephen Lecce wrote a letter to parents reiterating his commitment to keeping schools open during the province-wide stay-at-home order. Since late February, schools in the province have been tied to between 9 and 11% of all known active cases of the virus at any given time. 27% of all schools currently have at least 1 active case among students and staff, with more than 1,000 schools already shut down. Air Canada has been given a chance to bounce back from the pandemic. The federal government has announced the airline will be given a $6 billion load to help the country's biggest air carrier survive. In exchange for federal government support, Air Canada has agreed to refund customers who had flights cancelled last year because of COVID-19. Air Canada also says it would maintain its workforce at current levels, respect collective bargaining rights and agreements, and protect workers' pensions. Air Canada's passenger numbers declined 73% last year, following several years of record growth. During 2020, it reduced staff by more than 20,000, more than half of its staff before the pandemic. The company said customers who purchased non-refundable fares but did not travel due to the pandemic since February of last year will be eligible to receive refunds as of Tuesday. Egypt is impounding the cargo ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal. The Ever Given will be held until its Japanese owner pays $900 million in compensation. BBC is reporting one of the ship's insurers, UK Club, says the Suez Canal Authority has rejected its offer to settle the claim. It described the claim as extraordinarily large and largely unsupported. The claim includes $300 million for a salvage bonus and $300 million for loss of reputation. The Ever Given is currently anchored in the Great Bitter Lake, the canal's midway point. The giant container ship blocked the Suez Canal last month after being wedged diagonally across the waterway and running aground due to high winds and a sandstorm that affected visibility. It was freed 6 days later. For more news, check out SkedLine.com for stories from our SkedLine reporting team. Saloni Bugra reports on why victims of assault can't say no and can't speak up. Nicholas Barnsdale covers Toronto City Council's consideration of the benefits and the risks of e-scooters. Emma Harris has the story of how the pandemic puppy trend is feeding irresponsible breeders. Jace LeJudice talks to small business owners about how they are bearing the brunt of lockdown. And I have the story of why some people prefer working from home a year into the pandemic. And that is what is making news now. I'm Josh Welsh. Let's check in on health news.
Hello, welcome to SkedLIVE's Health. I'm Christina Shidrina and it is Wednesday, April 14th. The chief of the World Health Organization is reporting a shocking imbalance in the global vaccine distribution. Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says that the World Health Organization had planned to start vaccinations in all the countries within the first 100 days of this year.
There remains a shocking imbalance in the global distribution of vaccines. More than 700 million vaccine doses have been administered globally, but over 87% have gone to high-income or upper-middle-income countries, while low-income countries have received just 0.2%.
Sunday is their 100-day mark, and only 194 countries out of 220 have started vaccinations. Director General Ghebreyesus is calling on countries to support COVAX facility, which aims to ensure equal access to the vaccines. In the United States, federal health agencies are pausing the use of Johnson & Johnson vaccine. 6 women under 50 have developed blood clots after receiving this shot. Johnson & Johnson says it is delaying the rollout of the vaccine in Europe. Acting U.S. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Janet Woodstock says this pause is aimed at informing healthcare providers on how to diagnose and treat the clots. The move comes after European regulators said earlier this month that they had found a possible link between AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine and its similar rare blood clotting problem that has led to a small number of deaths. Meanwhile, Canada is reporting its first blood clotting case linked to AstraZeneca's vaccine. The Quebec Health Ministry and Canada's Public Health Agency both reported the case on Tuesday. Officials say the woman is doing well with treatment. Quebec Premier François Legault says he sees a silver lining in the incident since it does appear to be rare, with only one case in 100,000 people vaccinated with AstraZeneca. Quebec registered record vaccination numbers over the last week after receiving a big shipment of AstraZeneca vaccine and making it available to people of 55 and older. Here in Toronto, vaccine shortages have closed immunization clinics. The Scarborough Health Network has closed its Centennial College and Centenary Hospital clinics today. Officials say the clinics will reopen when the new vaccines are available. The clinics had been vaccinating local residents over the age of 50, all Indigenous adults and healthcare workers. Officials say that people whose appointments were cancelled will have their appointments rebooked as soon as possible. And doctors in Ontario may soon have to decide who can and cannot receive treatment in the intensive care units as the soaring COVID caseload overwhelms hospitals. The Ontario Hospital Association reports the number of COVID-19 patients in the ICUs has jumped over 31% in 1 week. The province is now cancelling all elective surgeries, admitting adults to the Toronto Sick Kids Hospital and preparing the field hospitals. The surge in hospital admissions also complicates the supply of the tocilizumab, a drug often given to people seriously ill with COVID-19. The College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario says the province may have to enact the critical care triage protocol. For more of our stories, check out SkedLIVE.com. Natasha Winter has a story on coronasomnia and how the pandemic is affecting our sleep, and Tatiana Furtado reports on menstrual movement wanting to see the end of the period inequity in 2021. This is it for today's health. I'm Christina Shidrina, and now let's see what is happening with sports.
Hello, welcome to SkedLIVE Sports. I'm Nick Barnsdale. It's Wednesday, April 14th. Here's today's sports. Chelsea moves on to the UEFA Champions League semi-finals with a 2-1 aggregate win over Porto. Porto's Mehdi Taremi scored the only goal of the second leg with a bicycle kick in stoppage time. Taremi's strike was Porto's only shot on target of the game as the team tried to erase a 2-0 first leg deficit. Chelsea, the home team, was forced to play in the Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium in Portugal due to coronavirus rules. The English club will face either Liverpool or Real Madrid in the semi-final of Europe's biggest soccer competition, to be decided after their match today. Here's Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel on the match.
I can imagine that both games were not the nicest game to watch on the television for spectators who look for entertainment. I can totally accept, but it's very hard to play your best game against Porto.
In the other tie, Paris Saint-Germain advances in a 3-3 aggregate victory on away goals over Bayern Munich. Eric Choupo-Moting gave the title holder Bayern a 1-0 victory on the day with a 40th minute goal bundled over the line. It wasn't enough to overcome a 3-2 first leg loss though, and PSG will go through by having more away goals. The French side will play either Manchester City or Borussia Dortmund in the Final Four. In international soccer, the Canadians women's national team has defeated England 2-0 in a friendly. Goals from Evelyn Viens and Nichelle Prince led Canada to its second friendly win in 6 days. Viens won the ball from England defender Demi Stokes in the area and tucked the ball away for a 1-0 lead on 3 minutes. Viens was making her first ever start for her country. English keeper Karen Bardsley dallied on the ball long enough to allow Prince to dash in and score it in the 86th minute. The team missed all-time leading goal scorer Christine Sinclair due to injury and 2020 Player of the Year Kadisha Buchanan due to her club's COVID policy. Canada beat Wales on April 9th. Canada is ranked 8th in the world going into the Tokyo Olympics, which will begin on July 21st. The Toronto Raptors were down by the Atlanta Hawks 108-103, who swept the season series between the two. Bogdan Bogdanovic led Atlanta in scoring, recording 23 points. Clint Capella had 19 points and 21 rebounds for the streaking Hawks team that has won 7 of its past 8. Rookie Malachi Flynn put up a season-best 22 points for the Raptors. Here's head coach Nick Nurse on the youngster.
Right, we're down 10-12. I might as well go for it. And he starts banging a couple and playing carefree and playing hard at the defensive end too. Made some plays there. So it's good. It's good experience for him.
Pascal Siakam was Toronto's top scorer with 30 points. The Raptors cut a 12-point fourth-quarter deficit to 2 with only 20 seconds to play, but they couldn't complete the comeback. Both teams were shorthanded. DeAndre Bembry, Paul Watson Jr., Kyle Lowry, and Fred VanVleet sat out for Toronto. Trae Young, Danilo Gallinari, John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, Tony Snell, and Cam Reddish did not play for the Hawks. The Raptors play the Spurs tonight at 7:30. The Toronto Maple Leafs fell 3-2 to the Calgary Flames with a Johnny Gaudreau overtime winner. Gaudreau, Elias Lindholm, and Juuso Valimaki were the Calgary goal scorers. Zach Hyman and Alexander Kerfoot scored for the Leafs. Gaudreau won it for the Flames just 36 seconds into overtime as he deked out Toronto goalie David Rittich and slotted it into the net. Calgary has now won 2 straight after a 1-8 run. The Leafs have dropped 2 in a row after their own 9-1 streak. In baseball, Hyunjin Ryu led the Toronto Blue Jays to a 7-3 victory over the New York Yankees as he held a shutout into the 7th inning. Marcus Semien and Rowdy Tellez both homered for Toronto, as the Jays scored in every inning but the 1st and 7th. Ryu allowed 1 earned run on 4 hits and struck out 7 across 6 2/3 innings. Tellez had his first home run of the year in the game. Josh Palacios hit a 2-run single in the 2nd inning, followed by a Grishuk's sacrifice to drive in Bichette in the 3rd. Semien hit his homer in the 4th, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. drove in Bichette with a double in the same inning. Tellez homered in the 5th, and Bichette closed the account with a sacrifice fly RBI in the 8th. The Yankees scored on an error from Calvin Biggio in the 7th, and Giancarlo Stanton hit a 2-run single in the 8th. The Jays will play the Yankees again today at 1:07. Today on SkedLIVE.com, Hans Silmeta reports on potential collaboration between the XFL and CFL that would shake up Canadian football. Ben Rhodes writes about the Women's Super League deal with Sky Sports and the BBC. Sarah Pereira discusses the Premier League scenario with 8 weeks left in the season of England's top flight. Ali Irfan looks at 538's predictions for the Champions League quarterfinals. You can get all of these sports stories and more on SkedLIVE.com. I'm Nick Barnsdale. Let's move it over to entertainment.
Here are today's entertainment stories. Mick Jagger and Dave Grohl pair up to do a pandemic-inspired song. The legendary musicians teamed up for a hard rock anthem called Easy Sleazy. The pair recorded the video and song in separate locations. The song references Bill Gates, climate change, and conspiracy theories. Grohl says working with Mick Jagger was a dream come true. From rock duos to superstars, the Oscars are building this year's high-powered show. Brad Pitt and Harrison Ford have been added to a long list of star-studded celebrities presenting at this year's unique show. A-list stars like Halle Berry and Reese Witherspoon are set to hand out statuettes. They will be joined by Renee Zellweger, Regina King, Don Cheadle, Joaquin Phoenix, Rita Moreno, and more. The pandemic delayed this year's show. Organizers say they want to keep the red carpet glamour with a stellar cast of stars. The 93rd Oscars will be broadcast live at the Los Angeles Union Station on ABC on April 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And in other news, Will Smith's film leaves Georgia over voting restrictions. Director Antoine Fuqua and Will Smith have pulled the production of their drama Emancipation. from Georgia over the state's recently enacted law restricting access to voting. The film is the most prominent Hollywood production to leave since Georgia's Republican-controlled state legislature passed a law limiting drop boxes, implementing new identification requirements for absentee ballots, and giving new powers to state election board members. In a joint statement, Smith and Fuqua, who are producers on the project, say that they were compelled to move production out of Georgia. The law is said to have a significant impact on minority voters. Emancipation was scheduled to start production in June. And in other entertainment news, Nomadland scoops up British Academy Film Awards. The critically acclaimed Nomadland has 4 BAFTAs, including Best Picture. Filmmaker Chloe Zhao became the second woman and first woman of color to win a BAFTA for Best Director of Nomadland. The star, Frances McDormand, takes home the Best Actress award. 83-year-old Anthony Hopkins is awarded Best Actor for his role in The Father. Buki Bakre was honored with the Rising Star Award for her performance in the coming-of-age drama Rocks. Emerald Fennell's comedy, Promising Young Woman, has been named Best British Film. And in local news, Kim's Convenience closed up shop for good. The popular comedy show Kim's Convenience aired its series finale Tuesday. The hit comedy show followed the Kim family and their fictional Toronto shop. The Canadian Screen Awarding show had been renewed for a 6th season. The producers announced on March 8th that co-creators Ins Chow and Kevin White are moving on to new projects. The sudden news came as a surprise to many fans. Kim's Convenience premiered on CBC in 2016. This has been SkedLIVE for Wednesday, April 14th. For more of our stories, check out skedline.com. This is our final show for the semester. We look forward to seeing you in September when SkedLine hopes to resume in our Lakeshore campus studio. Until then, from all of us on the SkedLine team, stay well, everyone. I'm Natasha Winter. Thank you for watching.